The House of Representatives has directed its Committee on Power to investigate electricity distribution companies over their failure to replace outdated meters and improve critical infrastructure. The probe also seeks to address the reliance on consumer contributions for maintenance and equipment replacement, a practice widely criticized by Nigerians. In a resolution passed on Wednesday, the House urged the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission to enforce its directive mandating DISCOs to replace obsolete meters at no cost to consumers within a specified time frame. Meanwhile, lawmakers called on the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, to prioritize funding and provide incentives to upgrade infrastructure such as transformers to reduce load shedding and enhance electricity service delivery nationwide. The resolutions followed a motion of urgent national importance passed by Representative Nnamdi Ezechi, highlighting the persistent metering crisis and associated challenges in Nigeria's electricity distribution sector. According to Ezechi, many Nigerians who applied for meter upgrades months ago are yet to receive replacements. This delay has left consumers with two costly options, paying over 200,000 for a new meter or incurring exorbitant charges for direct connections, which can cost up to 500,000 for just a few days of electricity. Doctor, you are Obene, you are a Nigerian and you use electricity, and I'm sure you know about the whole outdated meter prices and then the distribution, electricity distribution company and all of that. Well, I don't know much to say about this. What is your thoughts about the situation?
Now it's funny when you say you don't know much to say. Are you not a Nigerian yourself?
I don't want to say words in your mouth, so I want to hear what you have to say about this.
Okay. Now, in all sincerity, it appears that the whole electricity distribution system have become the highest criminal organization in this country. I mean, with all due respect, there are a lot of people there that are doing their very good, very best. And maybe the problems in one section might not be exactly the same in other sections. But they seem to have some areas where they're almost all the same. And I am concerned with the National Assembly moving resolutions. Resolutions are more like advice. You're just calling attention and asking for advice. You are put in that place to make laws and to enforce those laws and to supervise the ministries and all that. So you have the instruments of the law to enforce compliance. Appeal should be the least option. When there are endemic issues that needs to be addressed, the National Assembly should not be making resolutions and appeal. We can be appealing, not the National Assembly. They have the powers, they have the instruments to enforce compliance. Because these problems they are talking about now are problems that have been there for a very long time. Not too long ago, I don't know whether they felt I was not consuming enough energy, and then I think they've come to do that in my place twice now. And when they came in one occasion to inspect my meter to see maybe if I had a bypass, you need to see the number of people that came. They were about 8 or so. It was like if they were coming for an arrest or something. And I opened the place for them. They put meter here, put there to check if there was any breach. And at the end of the day, they were surprised. They've done that twice. But unfortunately, there was a time I had a problem, and my supply was cut off. I thought it was even a general problem. Realized later it was a personal problem. I did not have light for 5 days, so the meter was not working. They did not also see it. That one, they did not see it to come to ask what was the problem, why the meter was, for 5 good days stretched completely out. So they know what to do, but they are just interested in the criminal aspects. Even when they say they are giving meter free, sometimes they give this meter and they have load. You put credit, they'll be taking it. But it all boils down to the whole problem of rule of law and enforcing the law in the country. If that rule of law breaks down at the national level, if it breaks down at the state level, it affects every other thing. So we must begin to learn ways or find ways to enforce the law, hold people accountable, and not be appealing to people to do when they have been failing to do what they ought to do perpetually. The National Assembly is passing resolution and appealing to them to do the needful. They should hold people accountable.
Thank you very much, Doctor. There was a time where there was a peaceful protest somewhere in Lagos earlier last week, where the citizens were protesting over high electricity tariffs, and electricity tariff has been increased. And then we have the case of outdated meters. Like you said, you had issue over your meter for 5 days, and there was no call of attention. And then, but when it comes to checking if you did bypass, they rush into it. Are there, yes, you said the National House of Assembly is supposed to enforce laws and direct them, give them the enforce it and make sure that they put it into practice, put them accountable over it. In cases where this situation has been on and on, because it's been on for a very long time, you increase electricity tariff, but outdated meters have been there, and then it's affecting the consumers. What has to be done to sort the situation?
You know, these things are all connected. You see, if you have you're providing an essential service like energy, electricity supply, and if you have created adequate infrastructure, and you have a lot of people feeding from your service, and they all pay, they are happy with your services, the likelihood that they will pay is higher, because they're happy, you're providing them power. And then you have a smaller number of people that naturally there will be the criminal elements in our midst that you need to go to hold to account, to try to look for ways to force them to pay. But when you're not providing the services, or you're busy looking for how to this economic term I'm looking for now, to achieve adequate profit, and you think that the way to do it is by increasing the rate, you're increasing that rate for the few who are able to pay. Now, for most people that are not able to pay, they will either go off the NEPA completely. People are looking for alternative energy sources now. A lot of people are going into solar energy options. Some people are just completely off NEPA grid. Some are also going plain into criminality, look for ways of short-circuiting the system to get what they want. Now, there's also this unfortunate trend where workers from these organizations go for enforcement and they are attacked by people. There are neighborhoods where they don't enter at all. Those people are just taking power and enjoying it, and they cannot enter. If they go with police, they fight all of them, and these things can increase. So why not do the needful, and then it will be easier. Bring down the tariffs. If more persons are paying, you make more money than increasing it so much and only very few people are able to pay, and more persons will look for ways to short-circuit the system.
Well, I wanted to ask, what is your thought about cases where there's overdue prices? Let's get a scenario where a tenant moves into a new apartment and someone else was living there, and then there was an accumulation of electricity bill. And then this new tenant moves in, keeps recharging, but realizes that has been an amount of 250 to 300,000 that he or she, existing bill that he or she cannot pay. Call it to their notice, and they do not do anything about that. Is there no possibility of changing the meter? Because sometimes it will be like you have to pay the outstanding, the existing bill before you can have a proper power supply. So in this case, is there no way that the meter has to be changed, since this accumulation was done by someone else and not the current tenant?
I think if the distribution companies are sincere, they are in a better position to help us with this. Because if they have clear protocols, if you come into a new house, you're just packing in, and they have clear advice, if you meet this kind of situation, somebody else have consumed this and it's not yours, this is what you should do to let us know that you're a new tenant and you're just coming in. And we will exclude this because it's not your bill. that will help to take care of that. But what they have consistently done is that whether even if they see you bringing down the load, so long as it is that meter, they put everything on you. I had an experience where they were doing the, what they call it now, the estimation.
Okay.
Before I had a meter. They were giving me very arbitrary charges. I wrote, they dropped it, then they increased it again, and the bill kept mounting. And I fought for they could not bring them down. I was told at some point, don't worry, just pay within the XYZ range. When you get meter, the meter you will be billing you. And when I got meter, they transferred the whole debt to the meter. And at that point, it was up to 700,000 naira, and I was paying bill every month. We had to find ways over time. There was time they said they did promo. If you pay XYZ, they remove this one and all that until we finally cleared that bill. Now, if you don't create clear rules, some people will take advantage of others. Now, there are also cases where people have suffered this kind of thing. Maybe you started from an estimated bill, and then you now get to meter, and somebody else puts a bill on you. Even the person that came in might now begin to pay whatever he likes, and also begin to accumulate bill again. So if there is a breakdown,
it's a continuous process.
Yes, if there is a breakdown and there is criminality is festering, both from the part of discos and tenants and landlords, then it's just chaos everywhere.
Yes. And what should the discos do over a situation like this?
Well, if you're owing, if you're genuinely owing.
I'm sorry, because they are supposed to get transmitters in their offices about a particular meter when there's a particular amount that has been accumulated for some period of time. Won't they have to come to or call the notice of a tenant or a landlord of that particular house to say, oh, this meter has had this certain amount for this period of time, for this certain accumulation, and we need to call it to your notice, or we need to disconnect it, you know, so it doesn't affect the next person that moves in there. Is there nobody that regulates, that handles situations like that?
They do. They have their protocols for debt recovery, and I'm sure they apply all manner of it. But the problem is, even within them, there are also times when their own staff work against the organization. Yes, there are also times when their own staff work against the organization, where maybe they need to go and enforce a particular, disconnect somebody. They go there and the person say, yeah, take this one, put it in your own pocket and allow it to stay. And they allow it. There are also times when they just cut off. While that my case lasted, there was a time when they moved to the very extra legal position of even taking 100%. You pay, sometimes they just take the whole 100%. I had that kind of experience, and it was not funny at all. So they have their ways of recovering their debt.